Hello, and welcome to Wizardry.
Hello everybody. Yes, I'm still here. I know it has been a long time. I've been on an extended hiatus. It was not planned. I know the algorithm is going to hate me, and I hope that you don't. A special thanks to all my subscribers who have hung in there, not knowing if I was to return. It's appreciated more than you will ever know. In this video, I'm going to be building a terrain base for a demon that I'm painting, which will be the next video. At this point, I'm keeping the lid on exactly what demon, but he's big and he's bad. I'm hoping that you enjoy this video. I'm back. Feels great to be back. Again, thank you very much for hanging with me, and I hope you like this.
So I had this wooden plaque lying around just waiting for a project, and now is its time to shine. Originally, I was having problems carving the terrain pieces for this build. I was imagining an arid desert, volcanic, depths of hell, eerie, foreboding, desolate. You get the idea. But like I was saying, I was not loving my work that I was carving, so I took the sane approach. I grabbed a piece of XPS foam, beveled it for the angle that I had envisioned, went out to the garage, and beat it into submission with a rubber mallet. And Viola, as Kelly Bundy would say. Some of you were too young to get that reference. And I ended up with some nice, random, organic pieces to start my build. As you have probably surmised already, the demon that is going on top of this base is a big, big boy. I needed a lot of room to accommodate his stance, and in order to feature his beautiful gaping maw and showcase his other attributes, a flat surface was not going to work at all. This is how I ended up with the idea of a massive stone slab with such a drastic pitch to it. I fiddled and futzed around quite a lot, fit testing different pieces. It's ironic, isn't it? We spend a lot of time being very technical and methodical when building something that, what we want in the end, to appear as if it's random and organic. I'm sure this is due to the fact that we as humans love order and patterns. I find it easier to build a castle or dungeon wall that's crumbling away as opposed to an organic structure such as this. That may be why I ended up in the garage using the rubber mallet technique, and not just because destroying something is very satisfying in itself. I like using toothpicks with a glue coating to pin some of the features together on the base. I like this technique because it helps strengthen the structure overall, and it also allows you to keep going and not having to wait for glue to dry before adding more details to your build. It never seems to fail that after laying out the main structure, the job takes on a life of its own, and the pieces fall into place faster and easier as the sizes scale down, and filling gaps to round out the form just seems to make sense. And although I was liking the way my demonic outcrop was taking shape, I knew it was going to need more character than what was in front of me at the moment. I couldn't do the next step inside, and I didn't set up to film in the garage, which I wish I would have now, but it is pretty straightforward. I used a spray bottle, not unlike a Windex or a plant misting bottle, with acetone in it, and I spritzed the base liberally with it, letting the acetone eat away at the foam. Avoid the fumes. Wear a respirator in a well-ventilated area when you're doing this. And here's the finished product after the acetone spray. The acetone essentially melts the foam as if you were burning it. It even has the same appearance. The foam becomes very soft, like melted marshmallow, but as the acetone dissipates, the foam cures and actually becomes very brittle and fragile in some areas. But oh my, what sinister character this little slice of hell has now. I totally dig the vibe that you get from this technique. In a future video, I'd like to lean into the gnarled, mangled flesh aspect of this technique. Maybe a Nurgle theme. If any of you like that idea, please let me know and we can make that happen. After letting the foam cure overnight in the garage and clipping away any of the toothpicks that had become exposed from the melted foam, I then began to protect the fragile areas from any damage
by coating it with a mixture of Mod Podge, craft paint, and water. If you watch any Black Magic craft videos, as you should, you'll be aware of this mixture, as Jeremy uses it a lot, and I've used it also in past videos. This coating serves as a dual purpose, as a protective coating, as I'd mentioned, and as a base layer for adhering the smaller aggregate to the base. To best portray a real scene, we not only need the large pieces, but there are going to be a variety of sizes, down to sand and dust, as the elements, or whatever harsh, hellish environment this is, wears down these materials. This part I always find very relaxing and satisfying. It's extremely easy. You slap on some puddles of goo, some fistfuls of various sized rocks, sprinkle on some sand, and not a care where it lands. Yes, it's a tad bit messy, but anything fun is, right? After some drying time, I think I ended up with a pretty satisfactory looking piece of terrain. However, not every element was securely affixed to its position, so I mixed up some PVA glue and water and gave the whole thing a very generous coat to seal everything into place before moving on to priming. I always enjoy how all the separate elements in a build become unified and cohesive after a primer coat has been applied, but primer gray is not the end of the road for this bad boy at all. Time for some color. I reach for my Nightmare Landscapes paints and break out the airbrush to lay down some colors and give this terrain a little atmosphere. By combining Nightmare Blue, Red, Purple, and a pinch of black, I began by laying down my shadows. Working my way out of the darkest recesses and shadows, I slowly decreased the shade colors, going for lighter tones. I apologize for the partially off-frame consistency of this video, even though I continually check if I'm in frame and have references on my desktop. I lose myself in the process when things are flowing seamlessly and I get hyper-focused. When applying these paints, I was thinning them quite a bit. Nightmare Landscapes paints work great through the airbrush and usually do not require much thinning at all, but I was leaning heavily into the transparent qualities of these paints. I also was not overly concerned about cleaning my airbrush thoroughly between the colors as I layered up. I also did not necessarily let one coat of paint dry completely before applying the next layer. The more the colors mix and mingle together, the more natural of a result I'll get in the end. After applying my highest highlight colors, I gave the whole thing a generous, heavy dry brush in white. When it came time for a wash, I mixed a madman's concoction of Nightmare Landscapes washes and paints. I'd experimented with this watercolor brush that I could fill with a pipette or just stick it in the wash to draw it up. It did help me direct and control the concentration of wash to areas. I did it rather well, and I was pretty pleased that my idea proved to be reasonably sound and practical. I'll definitely experiment it with some more in the future. My thoughts are that you could apply not only a varied amount of wash onto a piece like this, but also a variance in the consistency of the wash as well as the color or colors at the same time, with perhaps a bit more control than with a regular brush by conventional methods. Then again, maybe I'm just an idiot.
I'm definitely no rocket surgeon or brain scientist. For the large areas, I broke out a bigger brush to finish off the wash application, varying the mix slightly in some areas. After the wash had dried, I mixed up a palette of the colors that I'd started with and just accented areas where I wanted more shadow and basically wet blended and slopped on paints where they seemed appropriate. During the airbrushing process of this build, I found myself at several points loving the paint scheme that was going on, and had it been a different project, I would have stopped right there. But I had a definite feel that I was going for, and vibrant colors did not fit into the vision that I had. Although I do have some in future projects where those bright paint jobs will fit in nicely. And here it is, the final product. A little slice of hell where my demon can flex, menace, and reign supreme. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. It felt so good to be back at it. I totally love making these videos, and I hope to be doing so for a long time and hopefully full time eventually. As it is, I don't have near enough time to make all the content I'd like to or have written down in my wizardry book of ideas. Thank you for watching. Thank you for those who have hung on and waited for me, subscribers and Joe at Nightmare Landscapes. You have no idea how much it truly means to me that anyone watches these videos or supports my efforts at all. It's truly magical. Like, share, subscribe. If you like this channel, please let me know in the comments, or if you have any tips or tricks you'd like to see, I will continue to aspire to inspire. Until the next one, make some magic happen. As always, I'm Wes, and this is Wizardry.